Hi everyone, my name is Cynthia. Let's talk books. And today I want to talk about all the wonderful books that I read in December because December turned out to be a very good reading month for me. This is why I like to wait a little while before talking about the best books and the worst books of the last year, although my most disappointing books of 2019 is up, so if you'd like to check that video out. But let me get straight to that. The first book that I finished in December was Hello Stranger by Kleypas. This book was fantastic. I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars because it's a historical romance. So I could just tell that Kleypas really knew her history. The novel is based on the first British female physician, and in the story, our female physician falls in love with a spy. And it just worked so well. There's a lot of plot and intrigue, and everything is handled so beautifully, and the characters are developed really well. I just really enjoyed this book, and it hit me right at the time in which I needed a book like this to just inject pure happiness into my bloodstream, and that's what this book did. So it was just a win all around. Next in December, I read Well Met by Jen DeLuca, and I gave this 4 out of 5 stars because it was delightful. It was a delightful story. The only issue with this one is that it takes a while to really get into the main romance story. Really for at least a third, maybe even half of the book, you're really looking at the main character who has basically put her life on hold to go take care of her sister who has had a car accident, has experienced some injuries and needs help with things in her life, taking care of her daughter. While she's helping with her niece with school stuff, she kind of finds out that she needs to volunteer for the Ren Fair, the Renaissance Fair that the town puts together every year. And then you get a really beautiful look at all the characters in this town, and how how deeply they get into this Renaissance Fair. I really liked all of that. I liked the chemistry between the two main characters. It's a bit of a fake relationship trope. I don't want to give anything away, but there's elements of in which when the couple is interacting, it's meant to be fictional, and it's just delightful. And then when they finally take it into real life, total satisfaction, worth every minute of the wait. I just wish that we'd gotten more interaction between the main couple earlier in the book, but this is a fantastic read. I've been hearing a lot of good things from people around, and I think this kind of lives up to all the good things people have been saying about the book. The next book that I finished in December ended up being my favorite book of the year. Now that the year is finally over, it was my favorite book of the year. So it will come up again in my video talking about the best books I read in 2019. And I have a dedicated video to it, so I won't say much here. But it's Sal and Gabi Break the Universe by Carlos Hernandez. Its own voices for Cuban American representation. It is a middle grade book. So if you've never read a middle grade book, this is a fantastic one to start with. Really. You are following Sal, who is a young kid who, this is not giving anything away, but he has the power to grab things across universes, bring them into his world, and then has to deal with the consequences of that, because there are consequences to doing that. At his middle school, he meets Gabi, who is the type A, straight A class president, a kid who is noticing that there's something off with the Sal guy, and she's going to figure it all out. So just a really great book. Even if you're an adult reader, I think you should give this book a chance, and I will rave about it more in the next video. So for now, so clearly that was 5 out of 5 stars. But the next book that I finished in December was Akata Witch by Nnedi Okorafor. This is a fantastic book. So I read the whole Binti series this year. So in December, like my library, I checked to see what other books my library had by Okorafor, and Akata, which was one of them. And whoa, like I really enjoyed this book. I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. In it, you're following a kid. Now, I believe this is technically in the YA category. So this child finds out that there's a whole world, a whole mystical world that she has known about but believed was not true. All of a sudden it's real, it's true, and she's part of it. And she has found a group of friends that are introducing her to this world. And it's really great. It's based, I believe, on Nigerian mythology, which is where Okorafor comes from. And like just delving into this world was beautiful. Talking the way Okorafor describes and brings out the relationships, the found family, the conflicts with blood family. I'm really enjoying it. It turns out this is a series. I'm really excited because I actually found the second book at my used bookstore. It's Akata Warrior, and I'm really looking forward to that. It is a really great story, and I am really loving Okorafor's storytelling. Just really loving it. The next book that I finished in December was The Resolutions by Mia Garcia. So this is about a group of high school students that are about to enter, is it their senior year? Yeah, their senior year in high school. And, their lives are starting to be pulled in different directions, like what happens to most people around high school age. Because it's going to be time to apply for colleges and make decisions about where the next at least 4 years of your life are going to end up if you end up going to college, and as in a way to keep the group together and connected, one of the things they do is to give each other resolutions, things to focus on for the next year. And I really love the idea of that, of like the people who know you best telling you what it is you're going to be working on. For some of these, the resolutions work really great. For others, they don't quite work. Overall, I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars because it was good. I do recommend it. But really a couple of the characters are really dealing with anxiety and probably depression. And in December, I really struggle with both of those things personally, because it's the end of the semester. So the last few weeks of the semester are real, just anxiety driven for me. I have to submit grades and all these things. Fortunately, this year everything went really well because I've been going to therapy, I've been taking my medication. So this year actually was really great for me, but seeing it in characters sometimes can be a little bit tricky for me. Like sometimes I can really appreciate what the author has done, and other times it just it's too much because I see too much of myself in the characters. That was the case with The Resolutions, like the character that is taking on too much, and I could just tell, you can just tell she's about to explode. And so the chapters in which you're in her head were just really difficult for me to read because I identified a lot with it. The next book that I read in December was Red, White, and Royal Blue by McQuiston. So this was 4 out of 5 stars for me. This is fantastic. Totally lives up to the hype. I've been wanting to read this book for a while, and I put it off for a moment in which I needed this. So I waited till the end of the semester, and I'm kind of glad because it turns out to be a bigger book than I thought it was going to be, even though I've had it in physical form, but it was a little bit longer than I expected. So if you haven't heard about this book, it's kind of set in a fictionalized present in which we have the first female president. Her kids are Mexican American, and her oldest son, falls in love with the Prince of England. they hate each other at first, then it becomes a friendship, and then it becomes a love story. And it's very political. This, if you don't like politics, then you'd want to stay away from this book. But if you like politics, this like goes into what that means politically, what that means from a PR perspective, and what that means for a personal perspective for the characters, in a way that I really, really enjoyed. I loved imagining this like a mixed first family in which like adults behave the way you want them to, where family is more important than politics, but that doesn't mean that the politics aren't important, because these politics are things that they believe in deeply. And I really loved it. Like, I really loved it. If you haven't read it, pick it up and you won't be disappointed. Just be aware that it's a longer one, and so you do get to delve a lot into the politics of this world, which I fell in love with. All right, second to last book that I finished in December was The Perfect Nanny by Leila Slimani. I had a student read it about a year ago, and she really didn't like it. The student did not like the story. So I'd kind of been holding off on reading it, but I finally read it, and I really enjoyed it. I do have an individual review for this book because it's part of my Reading the French Classics series. So what I will say here is that the premise of the book is you begin with the murder of these two children. The nanny has murdered them, and that happens in the first like few pages. That's not a spoiler. It's in the back, and it happens right at the top. The book also doesn't really delve too much into the murder itself. In fact, you get very little of the murder itself. Instead, you're going back and examining the life of that family, how the couple has made the relationship, has made the decision to have kids, to hire a nanny, what that means. So you're talking about themes of class, of gender, of race, and through this perspective, right? Through this perspective of family and nannies. And I found it to be really powerful and to really speak to me on a lot of different levels. So if this has been on your list, I highly recommend it. I think you should get to it sooner rather than later. So that was 4 out of 5 stars as well. And then the last book that I finished in December, I finished while traveling, visiting my family in December, and that was Pretending He's Mine by Mia Sosa. So this is part of a series, the Love on Cue series. So this is book number 2. Book number 1 in this series was Acting on Impulse, and it was one of my favorite books of 2018. So really, it's a crime it has taken me this long to get back to the series and to read more Mia Sosa, because Acting on Impulse was so great. Pretending He's Mine was a little less great. I still gave it 3 out of 5. I enjoyed reading it, but there were aspects of this book that just did not work for me. I think part of the problem with the story was that we're following the sister of the hero from the first book, and so the main heroine in this book is sister to a character in the first book, and then the hero of this story works with a hero. It's his agent and best friend. So much of their lives and their love story like kind of hinged on a character that we mostly don't see in this book, that we know but we don't see. And I don't like it when so much of the dynamic between two characters depends on an outside force. Even if I like that character, even if I like that, it just doesn't work for me. It made the communication between the two main characters difficult because so much of it depends on this other outsider who's not even there for most of the book. And that was really annoying. The chemistry between the two main characters, the physical chemistry, was spot on. Mia Sosa, I think, is a really great writer, and I can't wait for her new book that's coming out in 2020. I think it's called The Best Man. No, I don't know. I'll put the title here because I've been hearing a lot of really good things, and it's kind of it's in my most anticipated books of 2020 because and I think she's an excellent writer. Say hello to Lady, everyone. She's an excellent writer, so I am going to continue with the series. There's a third book in the Love on Q series, and I'm planning on reading her new book for 2020. And Lady, can you want to explain to everyone you're a barky bark? No? Then how about you don't bark? Oh my god, I could do an entire video about traveling with dogs. If anybody has ever traveled, like flown with dogs, you know it's such a pain, and I have 2 of them. And this one causes a lot of trouble, huh? Yeah, but she got along really great with my brother's dog, her cousin, and the whole family. So I had a great holiday season. I spent most of it in Kansas and by dog. I hope you did too, that you got to spend time with people in your life that love you, appreciate you, and that we can take that energy into 2020. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.